Welcome to WOW, Ways of Wellness podcast. Each episode, we are going to delve into the minds of wellness warriors, from integrative doctors, alternative therapists, exercise gurus, movement masters, health and longevity experts. We're going to look at groundbreaking science and innovations to many humanitarian efforts and global change makers. All of these sharing powerful ways to help you thrive and enjoy life in your time on this earth. I'm Fiona Mary Berry, and I'm really chuffed to have you here today. So let's dive in today with today's guest. And I'm going to welcome my first guest, which is Jair. Hello, Jair. How are you doing?
Good, Fiona.
All right. So it's Jair Duke, but I'm not saying that exactly correct. How should it be pronounced?
Jair Duke.
There you go. It's Spanish?
Yes.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now, Jair is a wonderful guy. He's basically a movement coach from Peak Life Matrix. And the reason I've had him on is to explain the differences between movement and fitness and personal training. Do you want to go through that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So we're movement coaches. So the differentiation is really the mindset. We're not particularly interested in just putting on weight on your squats or your bench press just for the sake of it, for bragging rights. We're more interested in how we use the gym and how we prescribe exercise to maximize movement quality in a person's life. So reducing pain, reducing other blockages, emotional blockages, etc., that may inhibit someone from taking the opportunities for movement in their life.
And why is movement so important overall? I mean, specifically the correct type of movement.
So I think, I'll probably answer that by saying what the motivation to become a movement coach was. So we've seen, as a previous plumber, we saw a lot of tradies. You know, a few of them actually would go to the gym, but they'd still complain about knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, and many of them would go home and they would have kids, but they wouldn't have the motivation to do anything with the children, because by the time that they finish work, their aches and pains are full blown in their minds, you know, and that's not really, a place you want to be. You want to be able to enjoy life. You want to be able to do the things that you want to do. And one of those major motivations is children. So being able to be there for your children. So that's one of the major reasons why movement is important.
Yeah, exactly the same. I'm a grandma and my daughter says, are you going to be able to run quick enough to get past your grandchild? And I said, of course I am. And then I'm like, quick, let me get hair back on me. Make sure I'm quick enough. Okay, let's talk about mindset. Most of the time when we're trying to look at coaching, you know, one of the biggest issues is people's mindset. They go, yay, I'm ready to go. And then 1 week later, they kind of drop down very quickly. Do you want to give us an indication of how you help your clients with that?
Yep. So I think one of the biggest obstacles when people make goals for themselves is not really delving deep into their inner selves and their motivation. Often it's the goals that they set for themselves are actually someone else's goals. And I know that sounds funny, but I had a client many years ago. He came in, usual thing, I want to lose weight, I want to be fit, etc. He did fantastic. 6 to 8 weeks, he made amazing results. But all of a sudden, he stopped coming to sessions. And I found out later that what had motivated him to come into the gym was actually the fact that his wife and his mother had been poking jabs at his body weight. So every time he saw his wife and mother, and they just take jabs at him. And so he came into the gym saying he wanted to lose weight, but it wasn't really the weight that he wanted to lose. He wanted his wife and mother to stop taking those jabs at him.
Correct.
So he starts making some progress. All of a sudden, no more jabs, no more motivation to continue.
So, very, very interesting.
Yeah, so really understanding your true motivations for something will actually help you plan and achieve those goals a lot better.
And if you've got somebody that you are really keen to share some advice, what practical tips would you give them?
So practical tips, I think one of the best ways to really connect with that goal is really sitting down and having a look at what your values are, and then ranking them. So one thing that I'll do is putting down the different roles in my life. So I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a business owner, I'm a martial arts practitioner. So you write down all the roles that you can think of, then you rank them, which is the most important to me. Secondly, you then want to have a look at your schedule and see how closely does your schedule link with your ranking, right? Because if you're dissatisfied with your life, right, and let's say you say families first, but then I look at your schedule and you've got maybe one entry for family, that might be where the dissatisfaction is coming from. The second thing, and this is probably the last thing I'll put in, is 20 reasons. So this was I learnt off a physiologist a couple of years ago. He had his clients write down for every goal that they had 20 reasons why they wanted to achieve it, or 20 benefits that they would experience from achieving that goal.
I'll tell you what, that's a brilliant idea. I very much relate to the values because that's exactly what I personally did. I wrote down the values of my own and what I do. It's also when you're working towards your values, it's easier to do. So if your family, and for me actually work is one of my values. I really enjoy that connection at work. So it's easy for me to work hard. I know that sounds weird, but it is. And family values are very, very important. And so as long as I'm always hitting them at night time, I always have a family value with my hubby, and it's so easy to hit. So those things are high. So I think they're great. Now, let's talk about your clients. Who are the ones that you particularly can help the most? Now, I'm saying that. So in other words, which are the ones that are going to succeed the most?
Yeah, so the individuals that we really want to work with, and the ones that would do well with approaching us, are those that just want more for themselves. Someone who's been in pain for a while, or someone who's maybe not in pain, but maybe they've been at work and they're tired of where they are. They want more, right? So a tradie that's, maybe exhausted every day and is tired of that. He wants more for himself. So we can help these individuals by optimizing their movement, optimizing their energy levels, and helping them achieve more with what they've got.
I think that's lovely. I want to ask you another question. I know the answer because you've been my movement coach, which has been awesome. But how do you assess someone's movement and the injuries that are potentially oncoming because of the way that they're moving? How, if we're telling someone out there, how do you physically start that off and then progress it?
Yep. So many years ago, we were using what's called the functional movement screen. It was 7 different movements that we assess and we score, and it gives us a good idea of how a person's moving. But we've actually built up on that, and we've created what we're currently calling the Icarus movement screen. It's 14 different movements that assess, squatting mechanics, hinge mechanics, torso rotation, core stability. So there's a lot of different factors that we assess, and we analyze, see where there might be some deficiencies, how it all relates together. For example, someone who might have knee pain, the problem may not be in the knee. We've actually found that in quite a number of clients, the cause of the knee pain is actually an inability to properly mobilize the hip or the pelvis. So once you can really analyze someone's movements in these major movements that we often participate in life, we can get a good understanding of what the body needs.
So here's a tricky one. How do you advise clients who say, I don't have any time for movement?
So we don't need to spend 60 minutes at a gym to improve movement. I think the biggest piece of advice that I can give someone is if you're going to do one thing, bring conscious effort to your movement, bring purpose to your movement. Often we go through life on autopilot mode. So we have kids, daughter, I go home, daughter wants to be picked up, and we just on autopilot mode, we're not even thinking, and we just pick them up. But that autopilot mode may not necessarily be the correct method, right? So bringing conscious attention and conscious effort to our movement, I think is probably, if you're not going to do anything else, that's probably the number one thing.
Correct. And that's even just sitting down, the way we stand, the way we walk, all those type of movements. Hey, I'm loving what you're saying. And if someone wanted to understand where to, find Herr Duke. I can only say Duke. I can't say it with a beautiful Spanish accent you've got. But Herr Duke, if they wanted to find Peak Life Matrix, where do they go?
The easiest way to find us would be a quick Google search, Peak Life Matrix, and you'll be able to find our website.
All right. Now, before you disappear, tell us something, something funny, something most people don't know about you.
Okay. So I can't explain it. I don't know where it came from, but I have a huge fascination with the 4 elements. I don't even remember how I stumbled up on them, but over the last couple, probably 5 to 10 years, I've had this massive fascination with the 4 elements of earth, water, fire, and air. And I came across the 4 humours, which were choleric, sanguine, melancholic, and phlegmatic. And they were associated with the 4 elements. And it was believed that a person's temperament was affected by these 4 liquids in the body. I think it's been developed into the 4 temperaments. Then now we know it as a disc profile. And we believe that someone's personality type can be correlated to one of the elements. So
I agree on that.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a wonderful book by Florence Littauer, who actually wrote about those 4 personality traits. So I think we'll have a nice conversation afterwards about the 4 elements of fire, water, etc., and air. Lovely. Thank you so much for joining us on Ways of Wellness. As I said, our intention is to bring people like Herr in to share what information they've got. He's very knowledgeable. He knows his stuff. He's been very humble here, but his facts are pristine and very worthwhile talking to. Thank you, Herr, for joining us on Ways of Wellness.
Thank you for having me.
If you would like to contact Ways of Wellness, please email me at wow@fionamaryberry.com, and I will gladly talk to you about an opportunity to come onto the podcast. Thank you for now. Bye-bye.